So Metal Army welcomes in Joel from KILLSWITCH ENGAGE. Joel, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, man.
Awesome, man. Great to talk with you.
Good to talk to you.
It's great to be great. It's a great day to be great. And I'm sure part of the reason you're great is because Disarm The Descent's about to come out on April 2nd, and it's awesome.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem. Just right off the bat, you know, obviously this is one of the most anticipated albums of the year. Do you feel like it's going to live up to everybody's high expectations?
It's hard to say. I mean, all I can say from our end is that we had a really good time doing it and put everything we had into it. And speaking from the band's point of view, we're pretty happy with it, and I really hope people enjoy listening to it as much as we enjoyed making it, I guess. Not much else to say, though. It's kind of hard to listen to your own music like that.
Right, that's true, that's true. Just dial the clock back for me 13 months, and I know Jesse was in the fold before the announcement, obviously, in February of 2012, but looking back now and where you are today with the album about to come out, do you think everything has kind of gone, you know, as expected? Has there been any bumps in the road? What's that been like for you guys?
Actually, man, the transition has been really easy, actually. I mean, it's kind of like you never left. It's kind of like we have a new band all at the same time. It's kind of bizarre. But, yeah, it's been great, man. It's been a lot of fun touring with Jesse again, and joy to be around. And like I said, making the record was a ton of fun. So, no complaints from our end.
That's awesome. And out of curiosity, before Jesse came in, or, you know, how much of the album did you actually write before you had him in mind for it?
Actually, a good chunk of it, if not most of it, like used instrumentally, was written. And some of those songs we'd even given to Howard, like back before he left. So yeah, I mean, we kind of just wrote the record business as usual from the instrumental standpoint. So yeah, Jesse kind of popped in and we just handed him a bunch of stuff and said, hey, what are you into? What are you not? Like, and he was fired up right off the bat about it. So.
Cool. Another question I had about the album is, I know you guys have been sort of going ever since the beginning more toward a very collaborative writing process. How much of that, what's the time frame for you guys to sort of bring songs in and then agree on them before you guys say, well, this is making the record and this isn't?
It really happened over the course of like a year. I mean, a bunch of us, we all write on our own, obviously, so we all kind of had anywhere from 3 to 5 songs done, done-ish, individually. And then when we get together and jam and, bring all the songs together and kind of go through them with a fine-tooth comb and see what riffs we had left over, see which riffs needed to go, parts and stuff like that. So it's, it's still collaborative, but it's gotten a little trickier now that everybody lives in different places, so we kind of been forced to do a lot of the writing, individually and come together when we actually have time. So.
Cool. One thing I noticed about the record right off the bat that I think everybody is going to just lose their shit over is how heavy the record is. Track after track, The Hell in Me, New Awakening, All We Have, No End in Sight, right to the end. I mean, it's so, it's catchy like always, but so heavy. Was that on purpose? Did you guys do that?
I think we didn't want to make a heavier record, but it wasn't really, I don't think we thought about it too much during the writing process. It was just I think everybody was just so fired up to be doing it again, and so the songs are fast, excited, aggressive, it's just everybody kind of came back in with guns blazing, So yeah, it happened naturally. Obviously, we still have the melodic elements in most of the songs, but yeah, like you said, it's a pretty brutal record, I guess, from our perspective, so.
Cool. I think a lot of people were hoping that was going to be the case, not just because Jesse was back, but in general, not to take the shine off the last few KILLSWITCH albums, but it's the thing, I think it's going to resonate with a lot of people how just like crushing it is the whole way through.
I hope so, man. I hope so.
Yeah, definitely. And I always wondered, because I talked to Adam before, and I know kind of how he does his thing, but in terms of the two of you together, how much time do you guys spend kind of working out stuff like solos and, harmony parts, before actually pressing the record button?
Well, as far as like recording lately, just for ease of recording and tuning issues and things like that, usually whoever writes the song will kind of just play most of the guitars on that song on the record, and then we kind of get together and rehearse them after. Unless we've played it together and everybody feels comfortable, so we've kind of we try to get as much done as we can in the least amount of time, because we can sit around trying to line up guitars and songs that the other person barely knows, but it seems like in the studio is not necessarily the time to be learning stuff, so, usually, if you write the song or the part, you play it on the record, and then we figure it out after,
Cool, good call, probably.
Yeah, it just makes it a lot easier.
Nice. Out of curiosity, did you add any new gear to your or effects arsenal before the record that we can look out for on in the sound of the record?
Oh yeah, for sure, man. We've used a couple different amps this time around. We used Laney Ironheart's newer amps from Laney. They're pretty awesome, man. Been using those live as well. A lot of the rhythm stuff and all of the records, the Fuchs Viper, which is now called the Mantis. That's a cool amp. So the two of those sound really nice together. That's kind of the new wall of sound stuff, I guess, for us in the studio. But as far as effects, the same kind of stuff, max sound pedals, delays, some of the overdub, like spacey kind of parts, or Ethos overdrive pedal, which is kind of cool. You can actually plug it in direct. It's cool, compressed kind of sound. So a lot of the textural stuff was that with the delay. But I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Cool. I know you've been a Laney guy for a while because I know it's part of your live rig, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're great amps, man. Really cool.
Yeah, they do a solid job, those guys. Just I got a Joel question for you that's less about the band and just more about you personally. I know you've talked a lot in the past about your favorite bands growing up and stuff, but I always wondered who your favorite guitar players are. Obviously, like any metal guy from your age group, it's clear to figure out, hear the band and hear some of your stuff you've done, what you like. But I'm interested to know, like, who are some of the guys that got you inspired, and if anybody is really inspiring you today, that's your contemporaries.
Yeah, well, I mean, growing up, I always loved, like, Van Halen and, James Hetfield and Kirk from Metallica, Testament, I'm a big fan of their stuff. Yeah, I mean, all kind of the old thrash metal stuff, the classic rock. Big Zakk Wylde fan. I think I got a lot of the pinch harmonic influence from him. George Lynch. And I got into, like, as I got older and started playing, after playing guitar for a few years, I got into, like, Hendrix and a lot of classic rock stuff and things like that. Warren Haynes is one of my favorite guitar players. I love his vibrato. And yeah, just a lot of influences across the board, really.
Cool. And here's another interesting Joel-centric question, if you will permit me. I bumped into you like 4 or 5 years ago on tour in New York, and your parents were there. Your family was with you on the road. I don't know if you recall. And I always think back to the Alive or Just Breathing DVD and how cool, and I know your parents are, family is very supportive of the band in the early days. And I think about like people trying to make it today in the business, right, which is incredibly hard. What impact do you think that the support of your family has had on sort of your success in your career, as a working musician?
It made it a lot easier for me personally, man. And it gave me obviously gave us a place to rehearse and let me crank up my guitar, all day when I was growing up and stuff. And I mean that helped. And even like starting out in the tour, they let us, like you said, not only play there, park vans there, let me borrow money when we were starting out so I could actually go on the road and leave my job. And they were super supportive, man. It made it a lot easier for me. Probably be a lot more in the hole today if not for them. So it's nice when you have people behind you. It really helps a lot.
That's awesome, man. They were so nice. I mean, I don't think a lot of people never think about where their band, where their favorite band people come from. But it was so cool to meet them, and they just all talked about you. They were like Joel, but right after the show, and it was just really awesome. And I always wanted to ask you that, So that's cool. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
I just got a couple more questions for you, man. Thanks so far for your time. It's been awesome. I noticed that, there were a lot of rumors that Killswitch was going to get added to some of these big tours, and maybe they still will, but so far none. What do you guys have sort of planned for touring that you can divulge so far?
We're going to be in Europe next month, doing a lot of the club shows, because we did some festivals with Jesse last summer. After that, we're trying right now to put together a North American tour. I'm not really sure who's going to be on the bill just yet or what the routing's going to be. Mostly U.S., some Canada dates I think we're looking at. I'm not really sure what just yet. I think later in the summer we might go back and do some of the Euro stuff that we Euro festivals that we missed last year. So yeah, I mean, I guess the main focus for us now is just getting the record out in Europe in a couple of weeks. So.
Sweet. And the U.S. dates you mentioned, is that going to be a headline run, or are you guys going to pair up with somebody else?
It's looking like it's probably going to be a headline run through some smaller clubs. Just keep that vibe. We did the Live Just Breathing tour at the end of last year, and that was a great time. And that might be a good way to kind of get back into it too with the new record at the stage, you know.
Cool. And speaking of the tour, I know you guys just released the second song from the album, and the album drops in a couple of weeks. How much of the new music are we going to hear in the set list on the tour?
I think, you know, as the record's, you know, been out longer and longer, we'll probably add more songs to the set. I mean, starting out, we'll probably do 2 or 3 new songs, probably 3, I think, in the set. Not quite sure which ones just yet. I mean, obviously, we've been playing in due time because the video's out, singles out. So yeah, we'll figure it out. I think we're kind of just still rehearsing all the other songs and trying to figure out which ones are going to translate live. Sometimes there's really no way to know until you actually get in front of a crowd and play it. You know, which songs are going to really go over well live and which ones should stay on the record, you know?
Right.
We'll figure it out in the coming months, I'm sure.
Definitely, and they're all pretty short, so you could probably cram in a few and it won't take away from, you know, the set list, basically.
Totally, man, totally.
So in any case, man, you've been awesome. As just kind of a last question for you, I always, you know, even before Jesse came in, you always seem to be one of the more lower key guys in the band. Obviously, anybody next to Adam D is going to seem chill. But I just, you know, does it just make it easier for you to be in a band with a lot of different personalities and just let you kind of do your job?
Oh, totally, man. I think everybody in the band feels that way, you know. Adam's kind of the clown, you know, but he's also another voice of the band too. He's like we have 2 frontmen in a way. So I can just hang out and play guitar and drink beer.
Awesome.
Good times.
Sounds great, man. Again, congratulations on the new record. I really can't wait to have the fans hear it and see what they say too. I think you guys did a terrific job. Thanks so much for being cool today and chatting with us, and we'll catch you on the road, man.